Welcome to Lunch and Learn Zoom Friday. My name is Nancy Gaskins and I am your host. We want to welcome you. And just for those of you who may be listening outside of our live meeting here, just going to give you a rundown. September 1st, we changed our format. So here it goes. On the first Friday of each month, 11:30 to 1, it's always 11:30 to 1 Central Time. So we're going to have on week 1, networking, elevator pitches, building relationships, work on collaborations, basically doing business together and building relationships. That is for week 1. Week 2, iron sharpens iron. This is where we'll come together as a group. We will mastermind. We'll solve personal business problems together. We'll also share tips, tools, and resources on week 2. Week 3 is all about wealth building, philanthropy, and making a positive impact with our lives. We want to enrich the lives of all of those around us. In order to do that, we all understand that it takes money to do that. Number 4, week 4, personal and professional development, living our best lives. We have subject matter experts, featured speakers inside and outside our group that we invite to come in and let us know what you know. We want to share what we're reading, share what we're studying, share the courses that we're taking, and all of those different things. So if you are a subject matter expert or have something that you think would be of value to serial entrepreneurs, please get with me and let me know right away so I can get you on the calendar for the next upcoming months. I do have a few announcements today. Kay Lehman, she is not on Facebook right now. I guess there was, she's tired of being in Facebook jail and all that crazy stuff with Facebook, and her mother passed away. So if you have her email or I can send that out, I'm sure she would love to hear some sentiments from you. I also heard from Jessica Koch. I don't know what exactly is going on with her, but she did ask for some prayers for some stuff that's going on in her world. So if you would, keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Are there anybody else that has anything like that? We are a tight-knit group. We love one another, and we need to stay in touch with what's going on. Anybody have anything?
I just want to comment. I was wondering about Jessica the other day because we haven't seen her for a while. It's been like a couple of months, I would think.
Yeah, she's done a big, huge expansion with her business. So she's, very, very busy trying to do some really great things, and her time was eat up. And the last time she came in, I had thought that she said that she wanted to have a representative to come in her place.
Right.
However, we hadn't discussed that as a group to determine whether we're going to validate that or not. I know some networking groups do, but that's really not what we are. That's only one piece of what we do. And we really are about building relationships with one another, not necessarily having a substitute. Yes, Barry. You are on mute, hon.
Sorry about that. Never mind. I was with Jess a couple weeks ago and she was fine, and she did a presentation at the meeting that I was at. So I'll find out and get back to everybody.
Okay. She may not want to discuss, or anything like that, but she just did, say, please, give us some prayers our way. Anybody else have anything that you can think of that we need to address? All right. Does anybody have any events or activities that you'd like to share that you've got coming up, or anybody in your spheres of influence that you've got? Anything coming up that we need to know about? Nope. All right. Next, just a little quick housekeeping thing. I don't know if you saw my post just a few minutes ago, but our Novatech funds hit my wallet. That is the first piece of great news. Okay. The second piece of great news is how many remembers how much that I transferred? Does anybody remember how much it was?
3,000, 2,000.
3,079.
Yeah.
Well, Bitcoin kind of went up. So guess what the value is? Woo, right before we got on here.
7,000. No.
It was 3,518 when I checked. 3,518 for the amount. So just on appreciation alone. Now I'm going to wait until we get all the money done and do it at one time, but I'm going to watch until I'm going to make sure it hits that, it's at a high point before I sell it because the Comlatech requires cash. Okay, so
So when you withdrew it from Novatech, does it come out as Bitcoin or?
yes, yeah, they transfer it as Bitcoin. And when I double checked, because I had money in that wallet, and I double checked the amount, and which it might have went down by now, but when I checked, 351801. So I'm like, we made money on that transaction. I don't mind waiting. I was getting, oh man. So that's piece of news. Yes, Claudio.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever mentioned or if anyone else ever mentioned, but when you're withdrawing from Novatech, apparently if you withdraw it as Litecoin, the blockchain fees are considerably lower. So I wasn't sure if you were aware of that or not.
Yes, somebody had mentioned that to me, and since this was my first one, I didn't want to mess with that, and it was going straight to my Cash App, and Cash App only deals in Bitcoin right now. But that is definitely something I want to look into to see if the fees, because that's what I was checking. I was wanting to see how much money that they took out for fees.
Well, so the initial withdrawal fees would be less, but then you have to convert it if you need it in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've been taking it out and converting it. Well, a portion of it, I've been converting it to cash. So it is a bit cheaper to pull it out as
okay, so you can go directly from Lifecoin to cash.
I can, yeah. I put it straight.
Okay.
Actually, I have a card with the e-wallet that I'm in up here. I load it into that e-wallet, and I use the card. I use that for just about everything.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So that was that little piece of the information. So 1, we got our Novatech. 2, we got appreciation going on, and 3, we're like really, really close to having enough money for the 2 contracts. Like I think within a couple of $100. It's going to depend on the fees as it comes through, and we've got enough people, excuse me, that have pledged money, and I'm waiting on a couple of people that have told me over the next few days that they'll be sending. So I'm planning on Monday. I've got the account opened up, the brokerage account, all that came through, and now I'm just waiting to get the rest of the money, which now I've got Novatech, so we should be good. I had thought about doing 1 account, and then when I got the other amount, do the other. But I realized it was going to be $25 per transaction for me to wire that money into the account, and the paperwork would have to be redone. So anyways, not going to do that. And then I'll just wait till Monday, and then at that point I'll make a decision on how we move forward. And then another thing that I noticed was on the website, we have that coming up, and the annual renewal on that was $475. And I thought, you know what, let me just contact them and see if they'd be willing to give me a deal or give me a discount. It doesn't hurt to ask, y'all, because guess what? All they could say is no. Well, I sent her a message and said, we're up for renewals, or any way that you can give me a discount. She sent me back a message and gave me an $80 discount. So then I turned around and I said, can we break that down into 3 payments? And I've not heard back yet, but here's my thoughts on some of these things. Just want to share with you financially, when you look at something, okay, like TradingView, I'm paying $59 a month for TradingView for carbon. We have to have that. Okay. That's just an operating expense. I can pay for the year and save about $100. Okay. But how much would $500 in Novatech create for me over the year? So even though I'm saving, if I paid for that up front, when you calculate it out, I'd rather have that money in Novatech and pull out the monthly fees out of our earnings, because I'm making so much more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes
sense.
sense.
So let's start thinking a little bit differently, because I really was close to pulling the trigger on just going ahead and paying that off, so I didn't have to worry about the monthly payment. But when I sat and did the money, I was like, hold up. No, let's just put that money to work for us, and I'll pull it out as I need it each month. So anyways, that's just some food for thought there. Anybody have any questions on any of that? Next week is our regular meeting, so I don't want to go into any more detail on any of that. Anybody?
Well, no, just something that kind of reminded me. This is when I was I think 19 years old or something. And I wanted to build up my credit. I wanted, coming up with a creative way of doing that. I went to my bank where my folks and I had our savings and checking accounts. And I got my dad and I just sat down with the bank manager and said, how about getting a certificate of deposit? I don't remember what the value was now, but get this certificate of deposit, but I don't want to use my money in my savings account. What I'd like to do is get a personal loan and use my savings account as collateral. And it was like the CD, certificate of deposit, that I was going to be getting was going to get like 3 or 4% more than what the loan was going to cost me. So the bank manager looked at me and was like, you're going to make money on getting a loan while building credit. I love it. You're approved.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because a friend of mine I spoke to yesterday, she shared something that happened that just really irritated me. And this financial planner did her a disservice. He got paid through fees. Okay. Every time, that's called churning. Every time they buy, every time they sell, every time they do anything, they get a fee, get a fee, get a fee. I am a proponent of, I want to pay a flat fee. I want to know what I'm getting, so that I know that you're working in my best interest. I don't want that the more I spend, the more you know what I'm saying? I want the more I earn. I don't mind giving you a piece of that, but not churning the accounts. Well, she had a friend that their mom was going to help the daughter build a house, buy a lot, do something. Okay. It was going to take a substantial amount of money. And she went to her financial advisor. And instead of telling her that she could borrow against that money and never touch her money, he told her to cash out. And so when she cashed out, he got paid. And then when she turned around and put money back in from the daughter, guess what happened? He got paid again. And I said, you need to check, because there's a possibility that he has broken the fiduciary law.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I said, I've been out of that loop for a while, but I used to work in that area. But he totally did not do her right. He should have given her all the choices and then tell her the pros and cons of each one, and then allow her to make the best decision for herself.
Yeah, we had a insurance agent that was doing that type of thing with my folks I don't know if it was every year or every other year, come in and just cashing out the value and then getting a new policy. And he was churning the policies, and he was exactly what you described. It says he was getting commission on both ends of the thing by doing that. And after a few years of him doing that, Dad contacted the home office and said, this doesn't seem right. And they slapped him, and they refunded a bunch of the fees and that. But it's, yeah.
Oh, good deal. Yes, Claudio.
Well, I did something a little unorthodox, I guess you can say, not today's day and age, but maybe, years ago. We got into a position where we needed a new air conditioning and a new furnace within like a month and a half of each other. So that was $8,000. So do I put it on a credit card because I didn't have that money in the bank? Or do I use a line of credit that I've had sitting there unused for a number of years? So what I did was I put everything on the line of credit, and then it says, okay, how much can I pay off a week or whatever? And I said, hold on a sec. I'm going to take the equivalent of 10,000 US out of the line of credit. It's going to cost me an additional $90 to $100 a month. Put it into Novatech, where I'm earning $300 a week. I'm going to pay that off in half the time, and then I'll have that extra money sitting in Novatech that has already been paid for.
Good deal. Good
So yeah, you
deal.
just have to be a little
Let-
creative sometimes.
Yeah, let's make sure that in our pig meeting next week that we give out some of this tips on what you've done, because
this
this is
is-
very,
This is perfect for our masterminding today.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. It is. And it's just irritating when you see people like that taking advantage of situations. But again, and I also know it made perfect sense, I believe, for some of you to use when you did some of this, you opened up like a 0 line of credit for 90 days or something like that, and used your credit card to fund some of the stuff. Normally I am against, borrowing money and all of that stuff. But when you run the numbers and see what the possibilities are, that made sense. So for 90 days, you didn't have any payments due. And so then you could use your money that you earned out of your account to make your monthly payment and still have money left over. Make sense? You're still growing your account. So
Yeah.
that's a way to fund your accounts with 0 money, is what I'm trying to say, with 0 cash. All right. Today, what I thought we would do is talk about and discuss. We've been talking about our funnels and all that kind of stuff. So I've been going back over Russell Brunson's game plans. And I don't know if you have read any of his stuff, but this is traffic secrets that I'm going back through right now. And one of the things I failed to mention that I posted that I want to share with you, I quickly created a book that I'm going to use as a lead magnet to increase our membership. It's a very small book, larger print, and some graphs and some stuff. And the main thing is to tell people what we have been doing inside our pig group and where I would like to be in the future, and to invite folks to join us. And I have to be careful because, the investment and all that stuff, but this way legally, I can get something out there. I can put affiliates to work and all of these things out here promoting this book. So I need a couple of you to take a look, to volunteer to take a look at that, to see if it makes sense, if the flow makes sense, just some general stuff like that. And then for members, I would love to have some testimonials from those of you who've been in the group, what your thoughts are. And I want to put those in the book as well. And then you'll get credit. I've got a place in the back where we can put, your names, your business, and all that stuff. I've left some space available for that. So I want to promote you guys. So if you want to put your links to your business or whatever you would like to, you'd be able to do that as well. So wanted to throw that out there. I should have probably everything done by Wednesday next week. And then I can send the PDFs to you for you to start looking. And then I'm going to do a short little survey, monkey survey for you to fill in with just a few questions. And then you give me your thoughts on that. So I've got a place to put that. Any questions? Yes, Barry.
Yeah, is the referrals a general lunch and learn or a specific pig testimonial? Is it
For-
everything that we do or just that?
Well, since I'm putting everything kind of under one umbrella, you can probably include all of it, but this book is really about passive income. But I am putting in there week 1 because our first push is going to be for entrepreneurs. I learned my lesson. It's really difficult bringing people in who don't have an entrepreneurial background to kind of understand what we're doing. And I spent a whole lot of time hand holding and babysitting. And I've got a whole lot of those members inside the pig group that are not necessarily entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
So-
so if they're just getting started, it's probably not a good fit.
Yes. Because, we're already kind of, I don't want to call us seasoned. We're seasoned. We're still learning, but we're kind of in the groove. We understand what a mastermind does. We understand the importance of networking. We understand, professional and personal development and those type things. And I'm not opposed to somebody new, but I'm just saying it would be, I think, a lot more difficult for them to come inside this particular group if they wasn't. We want to refer business. We want to do business. Yes, Marsha.
Do you want to make that point within your book that that we're looking for seasoned entrepreneurs? Because
Yeah.
there's entrepreneurs and then there's entrepreneurs that know what being an entrepreneur is. If
Yes.
I'm a new kid on the block and I'm calling myself an entrepreneur, then I'm really out of my league compared to the rest of the people that are a seasoned entrepreneur.
Yeah. Good point. And we might later, if as we grow, I want to have some mentorship stuff available so that then we could bring those people in, you know what I'm saying? And maybe they be on our Tuesday. We keep ours on the Fridays. And then that way we could separate the two if they needed additional help and, you know, all of that stuff. That's kind of what my thought was.
That's a good idea.
Yes, Gary.
Do we need to be careful with those so that it doesn't appear that we're making some kind of an income thing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've got the disclaimer on all that. I've now got it on all the YouTube videos. I've got it at the bottom of my emails, you know, and all of those things because
But I mean, watch that in your testimonials as well.
oh, yes, yes. And we can say what is happening with us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This has been my experience. This is what I like. This is what, you know, those type things. And
Yeah,
what
we
you
have
think,
to-
what you think the future holds, you know,
Yeah.
because I mean, now that we've got this under our belt and now we really, I mean, this is a good time for us right now. This is exciting.
Yeah, it has to, all the testimonials have to be from a personal experience viewpoint.
Yes. Yes, Marcia.
So I've already committed to you that I would review the book.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's get down to business. Okay, on the traffic secrets, Russell Brunson, he talks about years ago how he went through everything. He was just a young whippersnapper kid trying to find his way with some potato guns. I don't know if y'all know his story. He's got a really great story. So anyways, he tried everything. He tried every hack underneath the sun to get his product out there to make money. And what was funny is, it's not funny, but you know, he got slapped by Google. He got slapped by Facebook. He got slapped, you know, every time they change their algorithm, every time you get it figured out, same thing with LinkedIn. Every time you get it figured out, they change something. So, you know, he has learned from all those years of experience and he's been teaching. And one of the things that he talked about was, he said, I couldn't get past, there was two schools of thought. He said there was a branding component versus a component where you check all your metrics, every dollar you spend needs to be profitable and all of that stuff. And since he didn't have any money, which one do you think he went with? The school of thought that was going to guarantee him some money, right? So that was working fantastic. But when he got ready to expand, he started looking at things and he was in all these groups and he was, excuse me, learning about using press releases. And you can send out press releases, paid and unpaid, to get your word out there. And what they were using was backlinks. You know, backlinks was very powerful. I don't know if it still is. I was going to talk to Jock about that here in just a little bit, because I know he works in the SEO space. But he was a front runner for the funnels. And so when he did his press release, he put his landing page link on there. And so when all these press release companies would click on that, it looked like it was a fraud because nobody knew what a funnel page was and nobody knew what a landing page was. And it wasn't a traditional website. And they didn't care how much he tried to talk. That was a best converting website, made him millions of dollars, and he could not get through to them. So what did he have to do? He had to conform to their requirements. So he had to build a space for that. Okay. So that meant he had to build a traditional website. And then as he's going through, he's learning some tricks of the trade and all of that, even though it didn't convert. He would look at all these ones that were getting, you know, all this great exposure, but their pages and stuff, they was not making money. So why in the world was they doing that? Well, it was just part of the process. And he learned how to combine all of that into a, I believe he called it a funnel. I have to think of what the word was. Anyways, I'll think of it here in a minute. He figured out how to create that website in a way that it gave him everything that he needed. And through that, he learned this technique called a ghost funnel. ghost funnel. Okay, so we have traffic coming inside our funnel. And what do? They either opt in and you make a sale, or you give them something, or they leave. Where do they go? If they don't opt in, where do they go? They're a
you mean to be-
ghost. You
do you
lose
mean to-
them.
Do you mean to be sharing your screen?
No, I'm just talking. I'm just talking, but thank you. Okay. They're ghost. Now here's what they might do. While they're looking, they might go to Google and Google your name. Right? They might do that to see if you're a fraud or not. Next, they're going to search maybe your company name. I'm looking at some of my notes, your product, anything that you're affiliated with. And that's where the SEO and all of that stuff comes in that I'm going to get Jock to address here just a little bit. Sorry, Jock, I'm going to put you on the spot here in a minute. And so then they start looking, it's the credibility research. Then they might look for blogs, social media posts. They might get on your email list just to check you out. Lots of people do that. And I do that a lot just to kind of see what kind of interaction they have with their clients before you want to do business with them, to see how well that goes. They might check out your podcast. Okay. So each one of those, you've got to have a way to bring them back into your funnel. Make sense? And so this group of friends of his that talked to him, they said, let me just give you an example. And he was so busy about worrying about converting them into a sale that he did not realize, let me find it here. How many, so I give you the right number. 251,680 people had Googled his name. Just his name alone. He had no idea. And so I've got to find out. I used to know that, and I can't remember. Some of you may know it, but there's a way to check on the words and all of that stuff. So be careful that we're not focused so much on trying to get the top keywords that we miss the boat. So here, and then I want to have a discussion about this. So, okay, they go into your funnel. Well, what percentage is saying yes versus what percentage is saying no or not right now? How do you know that? We need to figure that out. You know, maybe our website, that traffic counter could be a good hit for us to figure out how many people are visiting our webpage. Just an idea. And I'm revamping and doing some stuff, and I've been working really hard for the last couple of weeks. And going back over this is reminding me on the holes, that we need to really be thinking about. So when they put in your name, what's coming up on the search engines? If you have a certain product, or whether it is your topic, all of those things, you need to make sure that you're in control of that. Is Nancy Gaskins a fraud? I should have a blog post out there, not somebody else trying to state my case, right? Is Nancy Gaskins a fraud? You probably should too, Claudio, since you're in this space. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a real popular one that they use for reviews. And all it is their affiliates. And they go through and they debunk it. It's clickbait, and they debunk it and then go through there and give you the real links. Okay. So that is one topic that I would like for us to discuss. And then I want to talk about some unique affiliate things that they talked about. Go ahead, Bruce.
It's one of the things that one of my coaching sessions with Ellie a while back, we're talking about like the landing pages where it's just a standalone page with the product information, whatever you're offering, and it's not got any menu links across the top. It's just that item that it's promoting. And she said she doesn't like those because it's just like with several of us have multiple things that we offer. So let's say we've got somebody that would be interested in product C, but we're just presenting them with product A. they don't know that product C even exists for, is an option for me. So by having what would traditionally be a standalone landing page actually be a page on your website that has the traditional menus across the top, it allows them, it's like, okay, I'm not really interested in this particular item, but what else have they got? So they start, poking around and looking to see what else you offer, and you might make a sale from that. So I thought that was an interesting spin on it. You're muted, Nancy.
Very good. And that was the word that I was trying to come up with a while ago. I just looked in the book. It's called a funnel hub. So you have I'm just going to read off of here. Your top piece of it would be your core mission statement. And then in the middle, he's got your core product, the front of your value ladder. And then below that on the left, the content, your social media stuff, something that might catch their interest there. On the right of that, a couple of different funnels that they could click on. That would be what? Something that they would be interested in. What problem are you trying to solve for them? That, again, they wouldn't know necessarily about it. And then he's got down there next steps, what to do next. So instead of just, putting somebody there and clueless, you've got all these nice little convenient pockets on this hub here so that they can go wherever they need to. So for example, if they were wanting to find you on YouTube, that one page would have, that one hub would have everything that they would need. They could go right there. Or if they preferred a blog, the blog would be, right there.
Yeah, and there's a kind of a competitor to the ClickFunnels is called quiz funnels. And you set up a series of quiz questions that, based on what they're interested in, it directs them to that specific product or service that meets what they're interested in.
Oh, I like that. That's a real good idea. Real good idea. A couple of, just to give you an idea, and then I want to give Jock a time to talk a little bit. Let's go back on the SEO and the Google searches and all of that stuff. Okay, his branded terms that he wasn't thinking about, that everybody was Googling, was Russell Brunson, Expert Secrets, which was the name of one of his books, ClickFunnels, .com Secrets, another name of his book, the One Funnel Away Challenge. So are you doing something, you know what I'm saying, with your group, with your business? That needs to be in there. Russell Brunson Reviews. Is Russell Brunson legit? Russell Brunson scam? Russell Brunson case studies. Okay, so those are all things that they found out that people were actually searching for underneath his name, underneath his brand. And then on the other side was the non-branded terms: digital marketing, sales funnel courses, funnel conversion techniques, sales funnel coach, sales funnel builder, optimization, funnel expert, how to build a funnel, funnel example. So everything was funnel, but had something to do with funnels. Okay. And those were his non-branded terms. So you can see we could be missing a whole lot of valuable traffic. So your homework for this week is going to Google yourself and Google some of the things that you're associated with and just kind of see what comes up. Okay. Jock, do you have anything that you could add to us to maybe give us like a starting point if we're just like starting from the beginning, or what might we do to start working on this? Obviously get with you for a consult.
Yep. Let's see, with quiz funnels, you can do that with ClickFunnels. Just, you can set up questions and have if-then options. There's another thing that I use in place of that, because it has more features than ClickFunnels, and you can get rid of a lot of other stuff that you need to subscribe to. One is, do you have a Google My Business listing? Because if you don't do that, you're probably can do a whole lot with SEO on your website and still not rank. So you need to not only get a Google My Business listing, but do some work on optimizing it, put in as much as you can, put in products and services and and just fill out every possible thing on that. And if you do that right, then that can make a huge difference. Second thing is your reputation management. Are you getting enough reviews, and are they good reviews? Do you have some way of trying to, any process in place to get reviews for what you're doing? Because if somebody sees you with 2 3-star reviews and somebody has 54.8 star reviews, well, averaging to 4.8, they're much more likely to go with that company versus you. Then in terms of the website itself, there are different things involved with the SEO. There's on-page SEO and off-page SEO. And the on-page is one aspect is content. How much content, if you have a 1-page website, a 3-page website, and somebody else has, a 30-page website with a lot of really great information, that's going to rank better. At one point, people were trying to put up a post every day or two and just throwing stuff up there. And what people are finding now is that if you do one really good post a month that's quite detailed, that people are going to use as a reference, that's actually going to help your ranking more than just trying to throw lots of content there. So you can't just throw up anything. You need to have something that people are going to want to look at and stick on the page and read, that's actually useful, and not just to put as an excuse to put keywords there. The other things about the on-page SEO is sort of behind the scenes stuff. You can use a plugin called Yoast that'll help with that. YOAST, like toast, but with a Y. And that you need to be setting up the page titles and page descriptions correctly. You should have keywords in it. Then on the page itself, you should, in the content, you should set it up with the H tags, H1, H2, H3, and there should only be preferably one H1 tag per page with the main concept and the keywords for that page. Now, just because you typically in H1 is going to be a bigger font and bolder, but just because something is bigger font and bold doesn't mean it's an H1 tag. You actually have to go and specify that, or an H2 tag. Okay, so those are the main things for, and then you should have links from one page to another. You shouldn't have any pages that are just kind of hanging out by themselves. There should be a sitemap. Another thing you can do is to set up Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Google Search Console will tell you what people are searching for, what keywords they've used to find your website. And it will also, you can check your sitemap to make sure that Google is seeing all your pages, because I've seen some websites where Google wasn't even seeing half the pages. So, they're not doing any good for SEO if Google's not seeing them.
Jock, can you tell us what is the process to get the Google Search Console? Is it something we have to download, or
Yeah,
what?
just Google Search Console and it'll come up, and you can just it's free, just sign up for it.
Okay.
Same thing with Google Analytics. I think they might have changed the name on Google Analytics.
Can you just clarify for me, did you say Google Search Console?
Yep, CONSOLE, console.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so if you just type that into a Google search, it'll come right up. Okay, and then for off-page SEO, two main things. One is citations, which is a unfortunate term because most people think of books with notes at the bottom. But for SEO, a citation is anytime you have a company name, address, and phone number anywhere on the web. So frequently that means directory listings, whether that's Yelp or Yellow Pages or whatever it might be. And a lot of times people have moved, they've changed their address, they've changed their phone number, and so their web presence is very inconsistent because they have a range of different addresses and phone numbers in different places, and that confuses the search engines. And so making sure that's consistent. And there's a service I use that'll do that. I'll give you a listing on 350 different directories. And so that, do you know what I mean when I talk about the map listing or the local listing?
You talking about like Google Maps, when you can Google a place and up it pops with all the stuff?
Google Maps, or when you do a search in Google, and it'll have typically 3 things on a list, map listing, and then it'll have the organic listing below it with the list of different things just in text. And it used to be the biggest deal was to have being able to get to #1 on the organic ranking. But once they put that map pack or local listing in there, that catches people's attention even more. And getting the directories set up correctly, that makes a big difference on getting onto that local listing. And then the other thing for the off-page SEO is backlinks. And a backlink is just an SEO term for any link from somebody else's website to your website. So if you're on somebody else's website and you click and it takes someone to your website, that's a backlink for you. And very early on, when Google, some of the early on in the internet, they were trying to rank people in searches based on people looking at things and selecting what should come up. And then Google realized that this is going to get too big too fast, and we need some sort of algorithm to figure this out. And how are we going to, what's a good way of ranking people? And so what they figured is that the people who have the most backlinks from the strongest companies. So if I just make a website yesterday and it has no web presence, and I link that to your site, that'll help a little bit, but not much. But if I manage to get a Wikipedia article linking to my website, or if I get an art, ABC does a piece on me and they link to me, that's going to shoot your ranking through the roof. And so it's both quantity and quality of the links coming to your website is a huge factor. A lot of people forget that they are members of associations and things like that. And often on the association website, you can set up a listing for yourself and get a link to your website. And frequently those association or charity or church or whatever websites are pretty strong. And so getting things like that can help.
Hang on just a second, Jock. That just brought up a really good point. Like Chamber of Commerce, if you've got a listing on there, you'll see you're in Google. Your Meet My Referral Partnership, believe it or not, on Meet My Referral Partners, if you Google yourself, you will show up in the Google rankings on our website. That's all there. So they've got, everything optimized to be there. Before we move on, Marcia, was that your hand is up? Did you have a question? Go ahead.
So Jacques, you talk about getting a Google listing. Do you want to address the whole idea of safety?
Safety for what?
Do I want people to know, like if I'm working remotely from home as an entrepreneur, do I want people to know my personal address? Is my point.
Yeah, you have to give Google your personal address, but you don't, there's an option where you can say that
listing the address is optional.
Yeah, I can't remember the phrase, but basically saying, do you provide services at your location, or do you provide services at the client's location? And so you can choose to not have your address listed. You have to give it to Google, but it doesn't have to be listed on your.
Doesn't have to be published, I think is the word probably
Right.
we're looking for.
So there's another question that just follows from what you said. So what if you do everything online and not in your place, in your own home or in a client's location?
You
Is
put
that
that in your listing.
What's
Yeah,
that?
You put it, that's what I do. It says I put that in my listing.
Okay,
I think technically Google says you can't. It's something weird, something like you can't be a thoroughly online business to get a Google business listing, which is stupid because everybody does it anyway.
Huh.
But
if you give an address, can you give a PO box?
That's what I do.
Okay,
And then I had a question too. Can you have
Well-
more than one, Jock? Do you know, like more than one listing? I've got a couple of different things and I need to add big
sometimes
group now.
sometimes Google doesn't like PO boxes, so you can put it in a suite number or something like that instead of PO box. They may or may not take it, but frequently it'll work. In terms of having multiple listings, they don't like it if you have multiple listings for the same thing. They want a different phone number and address. So say you're McDonald's, they have no problem with listing all the different McDonald's locations, but each one's going to have a different address and phone number. But if you're trying to do, you know, five different listings for the same name, address, and phone number, that's not going to be good. They won't like that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, everybody can send me $500 for that.
There you go. There you go.
Now, one of the things that like my where I have my PO box, they actually give me their street address that I'm able to utilize for if I'm shipping a package that normally wouldn't go to like FedEx or whatever. That street address in it, and you just, instead of like suite number, you just put number and whatever the PO box number is. So that's another physical address that I'm able to utilize on listings or shipping product, orders coming to me.
that's
They
what
are getting wise to that though. And now they're popping up. I know on some stuff that I had done that, you know, it'll come up that this is like
Right.
mailboxes, etc. You know,
Yeah.
so they're recognizing that stuff now. So I don't know. I haven't tried it in a while, but I used to have this. That's where I had all my stuff coming to. And I started having a few issues. So anyways, I don't know if anybody else. Kate,
Yeah,
I know
I've
you're
run
out
into
traveling
that.
around.
Yeah, I've run into that a couple of times too. It's like they utilize like the Google Maps or something to verify the location of the address, and it comes up saying, "I'm sorry, that's not an approved location," or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
And I just remembered a couple of other things that you should be aware of, because I've, in looking at a number of clients or potential clients' websites, I've been amazed that several different things. One, they don't have any easy way to contact. You have to search for a way to contact them. You want to have that right up at the top, you know, with a phone number, and make it clickable, because over half the searches are done online. So make it so that they can easily just tap on the phone number and call you, or tap on the email. The other thing is the software that I use that does a whole lot more than ClickFunnels has a web chat feature. And a lot of people, especially younger people now, are preferring to text and chat versus email or phone call. And when I've added the web chat feature to people's websites, they're amazed at how much more interaction they're getting with customers and how much more business they're doing. But the other thing is check your website periodically to make sure that something's not broken, because I'll go on and it'll say book an appointment here, and it'll go to say this page doesn't exist, or stuff like that. So, have a call to action high up. Do you know in the paper what they call above the fold and below the fold? Okay. Anybody not know what I'm talking about?
Go ahead, because we'll have people watching the video that won't know, Jock. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, if think about a newspaper and it comes folded, and the part above the fold is the stuff people look at first. So they put the most important articles up there. They have, and anything on the first page is important, but it's kind of like the homepage, anything further down. So what's considered above the fold on a website is what you can see when you first log on, and then below the fold is anything when you scroll down. So you want to have some sort of call to action or a way to get in contact with you above the fold, the first thing that people can see there. You're muted, Nancy.
Fantastic. Anybody else have any thoughts on this topic?
I put a link in the chat there. So for this tool, I don't know, Jacques, if you're familiar with it or use it, the SEM Rush. It's got a free SEO account and tool it's a plugin for WordPress. And I don't know if I got to go through it again. I'm not sure if it's specifically just for WordPress or not, but it analyzes your website for you and identifies if you've got any like orphan pages that are just sitting there with no links to it. There's no way for anybody to see it, as well as just how good it converts on mobile versus desktop. Because like what Jacques was saying, this is a lot of you want to have your contact information clickable, because most people do their online searches using their phone. So they're going to click on it on the phone number, and it would normally bring up on their phone and call directly. So those are things that you want to make sure. And the little video that this gal kind of reviews it and talks about why she loves it. They got some pretty cool features for a free tool.
Okay. Yeah, the Yoast that I was talking about is free. It does, it may do the same things. It may do some different things, because that will help you with the page title, page descriptions, and stuff like that. The SEMrush I don't use. I know many people who do. I didn't realize they had a tool like that would give you information on WordPress sites. Oh blast, there was something else you made me think of, and now I can't remember what I was going to say. If it comes to me, I'll mention it.
I have that
Okay.
same disease. Don't worry about it, Jock.
It's called Halfheimer's. Can't think half the time.
Well, if I start going down a different direction, I have a hard time getting back to where I was.
Squirrel.
There you go. Yes. Yes, Marcia.
Maybe we can just have a discussion briefly around this. How important is it to have a website? I know a woman online. She does everything on Facebook. She has no website. She's a multimillionaire, and if she puts out an offer, she'll have people, and let's say she's charging $5,000, she'll make $100,000 like within a week.
Yeah. Well,
Congratulations on her, but she's operating in very, 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 very risky territory, because
Yeah.
just like that, all of her business could go away with the click of Zuckerberg. Okay. Now,
Yeah,
hopefully, if she's that smart and she's been able to have that kind of business, she's got a way that she can connect with her clients. But having only on one platform, that is very, very dangerous. Go ahead.
yeah,
Bruce.
well, because Facebook owns everything. That's how she's connecting with people. So if she's not got a form where she's collecting their name and email address and phone number,
She is.
so
She has
she's got a
an email.
database. So, but I mean, but just the fact that if that's the only platform where she's offering stuff, just like Nancy said, Facebook could pull the plug on her, and she doesn't have a website where she can offer her products and services.
Well, she has an email list with a database.
Well, that's, yeah, but
Yeah,
it's still.
But she would be scrambling. Let's just say if it came offline and something happened, she would have to scramble to get all of her stuff onto a website. And a website is not that expensive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even just to have a presence there,
She
even with a
uses
couple of pages.
She
Yeah.
uses ClickFunnels, and she's won 2 Comma Club awards.
Yeah. Well, then they
Without-
probably have that set up in there. That's kind of her website. You know what I'm saying? She probably has all of her funnels inside that thing.
Yeah,
that she can access.
her ClickFunnels pages are acting as a website for her.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that explains that. But yes, I all these people who have, you know, 1, 2, 3 Comma Club, man, they're doing something
And she
right.
won them. I want to qualify. No Facebook ads, no ads.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's one of the things with people that it's like Maya Komarota is someone that I've got introduced to through Ellie, but she built a massive following. So as soon as she made any kind of an offer, she had hundreds, if not thousands of people all ready to buy. So that's one of the things, these people that have all of these, you know, huge product releases and that, they've built over months or years, they've built a huge following that
Yes.
if they make an announcement, boy, they've got a lot of sales.
Influencer. That's the mega influencer. You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
But we can learn from all these people. And like I said, I'm going back over these. I'm going to go back over all 4 of those books of his, and I'll be sharing, you know, tidbits with you. But he talks about each one of those different things, you know, on what to look out for, the caveats. And, you know, his people have built an empire. And one of his books, and I'm trying to remember what the name of it is, but one of them is he asked those Comma Clubs a simple question. If you had to start over again, what would you do? Now that you know what you know, what would you do first? So it's kind of like a game plan. And so every one of them was very forthcoming. And I'm going to go back and read those again because they've been there. You know what I'm saying? And so they have built a successful machine that is generating tons of leads automatically into their system, which is generating sales. So we need to be learning from those people. No matter what business we have, we all have to do the same thing. We have to attract and acquire prospects, lead them through our value ladder. They either say yes or no. If they say no, we have to have a way to handle that. If they say yes, we have to have a way to handle that. So no matter what business model you're using, it's the same thing. We're just doing things a little bit differently depending on the model that you're using. And that kind of is the point that he's trying to make when, as he's learned all of this stuff. He didn't want you to niche it down and be Facebook king or queen. He wants you to understand how to operate within that Facebook community. But the main thing is, how do you attract, you know, your prospects, which Livia, I wanted to give you some limelight here. A couple of weeks ago, you and I had a conversation and we were talking about target markets. And I thought you had some really, really, really good insights on what you learned from yourself. All of us has been so proud of you to watch you blossom over the last couple of years, and you've just been going gangbusters. And so I wanted you, if you don't mind, to unmute yourself and kind of tell us some things that you have learned along the way through this journey, which has really been an exponential journey here in the last little bit. And thank you for showing up today. Appreciate having you here. We've been missing you.
Yeah, so I feel that, you know, my avatar has changed so much that I work really well with coaches. So if you're a coach and you've got a program coming up, like a cohort that you want to enroll people in, the live stream is a funnel. So I've got 2 examples. Most recently, I was working with a woman who's a performance coach, career coach. And so she did 20 days of like posting on LinkedIn, which was a lot, but she did it. And so it's 20 days of posting, just kind of like and she used a really cool method, which I would love to encourage all of you to take on, is she went through the alphabet A through Z, and she would pick a topic that matched those letters. And her topic was about gamification. And so she talked about, terminology related to that every day for 26 days. And then each time leading up to like, hey, I'm going to be going live. I'm going to be going live. I'm going to be going live. And we had picked out the last week of August to go live. And it was a 5-day event. And she brought in each of her own facilitators, guest speakers. And all I do is in the background, like managing everything. And so from there, there's a lot of audience participation. And then there's gifts, right? So they could win, like based on their engagement in the live stream, they could win like a coaching package or a session with some of her facilitators. They could do certain steps during the 5-day challenge, and then be able to enroll into her cohort program, which was this week at a great discount or something like that. So that's one method. It's not viable for everyone because I think 20 days posting is a lot. And to Jock's point, sometimes like posting every day, just has a wear and tear on the algorithm. But I think if you can do 1 to 2 weeks of just active posting, making the announcement, making sure that you're generating awareness, and then going to the live stream, and then attracting people that way. So the live stream has become just like a funnel, a lead magnet, enrollment, sales into one. I'm still fleshing out the details of that, but that's where I really have found like my area of expertise to be in.
Want to clarify one thing.
Yeah.
Your post and my post are two different things. I'm talking about blog posts on a website, and that's what I was saying. You should do fewer of these days and more detail. That's very different from doing Facebook posts or LinkedIn posts. So doing those daily are probably perfectly fine. That's a totally different thing from the website.
Gotcha. But, I think a lot of people, when they first enter, they were told you got to post every day, like really driving,
Well, part of that
driving
is
your
just
reach.
there's a person in the coaching group with Ellie that she's been posting a Facebook Live, I think for almost a year, every single day. And part of that is by doing it, whatever the frequency, whether it's daily or several times a week, it's priming the algorithm for Facebook so that when she does go live, a lot of people are notified. If you only go live once or twice a month, nobody's going to even know that you're live because Facebook isn't going to notify anybody. So that's part of the reason why you want to do it frequently, is to prime the algorithm so that, and getting the engagement for people commenting and liking on it, that further primes the algorithm so that when they do go live, Facebook notifies a lot of people.
And the other thing about that, and I think Russell talked about this as well, he was doing this all the time, like his podcast. Well, in the beginning, as you all know, when you're beginners, you stink. And nobody was watching and nobody was listening. And that's okay. Because the more times that he did it, he learned, the better that he got. And some of that stuff now is still out there, online, available. And he, laughs at how awful he was. Well, I look back because I started my podcast in 2009 and I'm like, oh, but the main thing is just to start.
I think it's just a viability option because I don't think it's feasible to do that much. And so if you can figure out a frequency and consistency that works for you,
yes,
right, you're more likely to stick to it. Because I used to fall into that school of thought, like I do every day. So going back to LinkedIn posts, like I think if you generate a post that's really good, it's well thought out, it has all the copywriting elements, and you do that once a week or even once a month, that's doable, that's manageable, versus like feeling this need that you have to post every day. And I think that's where people fall into that trap and mindset.
So I'm going to just jump in here. So in the Laurel Langmeyer community, they have said that if you post 5 days a week for an entire year on YouTube, YouTube will start paying you. And that means, what do I mean by posting? Making a 10-minute video 5 days a week for an entire year. That's
But
what
YouTube also has all these, so you may do that, but then you got no views, you got no downloads, you got no shares, people don't watch the whole way through, right?
Right.
So there's
Yeah,
these other parameters that are like,
Yeah.
good point.
It's not just, and that's one of the things that Laurel talks about too, is that, or her team saying that it's not just about posting. You need the engagement, you need the subscribers, you need to have people watching at least half, the
Yeah.
first half of it. There's all these
And-
metrics that,
like we used to think it was like 1,000 subscribers, right? Then you could get your vanity name. Okay, cool, check. All right, so now how many of those watched all the way through? How many of those downloaded? How many? So
Yes, I think they have it now to 100 subscribers to get your vanity name. But here's something that I have noticed people doing, and it drives me nuts, but I think I figured out why they're doing it. You'll get on here to watch a webinar or something, and they'll have 5 minutes of nothing but music or whatever going on. Nothing going on, nothing going on. And then they'll finally come on. So I'm sitting here trying to fast forward. Well, what they're doing is they're trying to work on that algorithm. You're
Yep.
having to sit there
yep,
while they're doing nothing to get their views up.
yep,
So
And they're
I'm
playing-
seeing more people do that. I mean, I bet you this week I bet you 7 out of 10 that I watched did that.
yep.
And it's annoying. Yes, Claudio.
I've never tried it myself, but I've heard a lot of people recently saying that TikTok is actually definitely a good option for business as well. I don't know enough about it. I'm actually trying to figure out how to take a video that I've got in my Facebook onto TikTok. I'm not even sure if we can do it yet or not. So I was just wanted to see if that's possible or not.
It can be a really good, it depends on what your age group of your target market is. If it's 60 and 70-year-olds, probably not TikTok.
Yeah.
But for a younger audience, there are people making millions. It can be very effective.
Yeah, I've heard.
And you're seeing it on Facebook too. Their reels now are coming onto Facebook, the TikTok ones.
I've also heard that Twitter has been coming up on more for business stuff too. So, but
The one thing you're saying, like, you not only need to do the Facebook Lives, but like people have been saying it, if you don't get engagement, actually your stuff gets shown to fewer and fewer people. So doing it a lot and not getting any interaction can actually hurt you. But the other thing is, somebody told me, I don't know if it's true, that you want to have at least a 3-minute long Facebook Live. You shouldn't be doing shorter ones. And the other thing is that Google is encouraging the Facebook Live versus posting, that you actually, they will show it to more people if you do a live than if you just do a post. They're really trying to push people in that direction. So if you maybe feel like you're shy, you don't want to do that. But as Nancy said, you get better over time at presenting yourself, promoting your product, but it'll also be much better for the algorithm if you try some Facebook Lives.
yeah, and after you've done the Facebook Live, if you think, oh man, that totally sucked, you can delete it.
That is true. Kate, did you have something you wanted to share? Look at her tan, y'all. She's down in South Florida. Doesn't she look beautiful?
She looks beautiful anyway.
She does. That is for sure.
Aw, thank you.
Did you have
I'm
your
liking
hand up?
new color here. I kind of
Yeah.
did, but I think I thought it through. And what I was thinking about was I did lives for quite a while. I actually had a meditation group that I started a couple of years ago, and I did that for a while. That was really interesting. My question is that if I post a video as opposed to a Facebook Live, what's the difference as far as the viewers? Like if I'm consistent with doing a video, because I like to do my videos as to my for myself and have on, like, so I can then put it up on YouTube. I can put it up wherever I want to put it up. Plus, I can use it for if I'm feeling very moved and inspired, then I can actually then also transcribe it.
It all comes down to engagement, how many viewers are liking it and commenting. And
No, I understand that, and so I was asking if Jock maybe knew as far as the difference between doing a live or a video, how much of a difference that makes.
That
Well, and also, yeah,
I haven't heard anything about that. That's a good question. Um,
Okay.
one thing that you have to keep in mind too, and Olivia, I'm gonna let you address this, is when you do a live, how can you capture that video to use it in other places versus using something like Restream or whatever, or recording in advance and then placing it in a variety of different places. You know what I'm saying? So I know when you do a live, it's my understanding I can't like grab that video and do anything else with it. Is that correct, Olivia?
So yes, I'll share with you my process. But before that, I wanted to ask, with Russell Brunson's books, does he make the distinction between like inbound and outbound activities? And
Yes.
are we focusing on too much inbound, relying on that, and not outbound? I think sometimes we do more of one than the other. So anyway, so that's a point for discussion. What I've discovered is that when I go live, it's live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So right now I'm not like really building my YouTube. It's kind of like a placeholder for me, right? So it's just like where I'm building my library of content per se. You do have like an online cloud storage. So if you're on Restream, like, and I think StreamYard too, like you have 14 days where that recording sits, like the raw material. So it's up to you to download that onto your computer. But if you miss the 14 days window, there's this really nifty website that will let you download from YouTube and make it look like it's the raw file. Because yes, the other thing you want to do is being able to take the longer content, right, like 30 minutes, and kind of split it into little different clips. And you can do that now with YouTube. Like you can extract clips from YouTube. I don't know if anyone has ever seen that.
You talking about extracting clips from your own stuff or extracting clips from wherever?
So the first thing I'm going to put in the chat. So there's this website called 9xBuddy. So let's say, for example, you miss the download window.
It's
right?
called what?
9xBuddy.
9xBuddy.
It's in the
Okay.
chat. So if you miss your window to download it from the platform, and that's why you want to have it on YouTube. So like, you know, just let it go on YouTube and it's stored there. And from YouTube, you copy the URL, you put it into this website called 9xBuddy, and it will download to your computer. And then, so that's one. So the other way is once it's on YouTube, you can now make clips from that video. Have you all been able to see that? Let me share screen so I can show you. 1 second. So YouTube.
so is this only for grabbing the YouTube, or is this also for Facebook video?
Only for YouTube. Yep. I don't really download, you know, from the LinkedIn or from the Facebook because I've already got the raw file. Do you know what I mean? So I already got the raw file, and then I have it backed up in a way, on my YouTube. And I also have it backed up on Dropbox, right? So I made an account, and like I'll download the raw file because some of the guests that I interview, for example, they want it for themselves. So, okay, I have to make sure it's in the Dropbox. I share them the link. They can do what they want with that file. But I've noticed on, and then there's other things too, like you can have like Microsoft Video Editor and some other fun tools in which you can take that and like, because, you know, people want like the micro contents or like the sound bites. And so that's a lot of editing. And so it might be better just to delegate that to someone or give that to your VA to do that for you. But you'll have to give them the timestamps, right? So that's a whole other thing. They'll have to pay attention to the timestamps, where to edit that. But if you just want a quick, easy fix, let me show you what you can do on YouTube. Let's see, share screen. Okay, so let's say you're on YouTube right here. Let me go to my channel real quick. Okay, so let's say, so I'm watching this video and I want to just extract something from here, like an excerpt, right? So what you can do is go to the settings. Is it settings?
I've actually done that. It's been a while since I've done that, and I'm actually wanting to start doing that again, because sometimes on the on the podcast, there's like a piece of it that is just, oh, that's so profound. I need to clip that.
Right.
So I want to
So
start doing that again.
So this is what you can do. So so you've got the channel up, you've got the video, and you go to, which one was it? Settings. Oh, sorry. So these three dots, sorry, the ellipsis. So the three dots, clip. Okay. So you just listen to where you want to clip, and you can move this. And so you have to do descriptions. You have 140 characters. So find out your purpose map. Okay. So you have to give it a title, and then you just move the sliding bar to where you want to be. And it's 15 seconds. So like here, we'll do that. Share clip.
So it's maximum 15 seconds.
From what I can see here, yeah, 15 seconds. Because I don't think there's a way you can edit that. Yeah, it's just 15 seconds. So I'm going to slide it to, say, here.
You see the little line on each side of that section? Can you stretch that? You got the little clip there. There you go.
Oh, so yes, you can. So you can do 5. Yep. Good call, Bruce. Okay. So I guess the default is 15, but if you slide it. But, you know, everybody who says 10 seconds max, right? So
Checks in the mail, Bruce.
Well, part of it, the way they've got it set up, that's for, I think, for when you're doing reels. I think
I
it's
don't know why
like
it
15
says-
seconds on a reel.
Oh, discard this clip. All right, let me do it. Let me reset it.
Yes, I think you're right, Bruce.
They've actually now expanded all of that on Instagram. You can do 15, 30, 60, 90 seconds on Instagram.
Okay, let me try a different.
Well, it's just that I believe it chunks it to 15-second chunks.
Mm.
Is what, but you on the longer reels and stuff, it still chunks it up.
Okay, so clip. So let's go here. Okay, share clip. Oh, I have to give it a name, that's why. Winners. Okay. That's why. Okay, so you have to make sure you give it a name. Okay, clip, share clip, and then you just copy the URL, right? So you copy this URL, and let's say you make a LinkedIn post about it. So, okay, so share screen.
Okay, so what it's doing is because you're able to on a video, you're able to capture copy the link, and it gives you the option to select from the current time stamp or not. So that's what this is kind of doing, is just it's putting it in the URL with the
thumbnail and everything, and it's cool. So let me just do this test for you to see. So you just copy and paste it into your post, add your text, right? And you hit post, and then you know, and it comes with a thumbnail, and it shows a little clip icon, and they can watch it, but then it will say something like you can watch the full clip, right? So watch full clip.
Yeah, watch full video there.
Watch
Yeah.
full video.
Yeah,
Watch
that's
full
cool.
video. So that's why I really enjoy that function. I have not done it yet, but that is a new feature of YouTube. So that's why I always recommend, like, yeah, why not just get your YouTube videos up?
Yeah, I was watching another little webinar thing a day or so ago that they mentioned that I don't know if it's a relatively new feature on YouTube or not, but you can capture the text, the transcript. And that, so I don't know, they made it sound like it was any video, not just your own videos from your channel.
I need to get a screenshot right quick before we get off of here. Everybody look up. Whoa, that red really looks beautiful on you, Sophia. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Okay, go ahead, Bruce. Sorry about that.
No, it's just that the feature in YouTube just allowing you to capture the transcript so that then you can make it into a little mini, ebook type thing. If it was some discussion that you had, a little panel discussion and that. So I thought it was interesting that it was actually built into YouTube now.
Let's do another screenshot. Gary slid in. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank y'all for the great discussion. Do we have any closing comments or anything? Did you find this valuable? Go ahead, Sophia.
Yes, I wanted to say thank you, Olivia. That YouTube thing was so great that I'm gonna be doing that. I have a video that I did on LinkedIn, and for the first time in the history of my life, it got 23,000 impressions. And so I was just like, that I put it up on, thank you. I put it up on YouTube, and I was like, that's a great way to reutilize it, to be able to put little snippets, even back on LinkedIn and other places as well. So thank you so much.
23,000, did you say?
Yes.
Wow, what was it?
It was about break the procrastination habit.
Lovely.
And that was like a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that was like crazy. I was just like, oh my gosh.
23,000 in just a couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, actually it was in just a week that there was 23,000. So like from Wednesday to Wednesday. And it was
that's awesome.
And they actually didn't procrastinate in watching it.
I know, when you get on a topic like procrastination, it's a hot topic. So there's like hot button topics that you can stay on top of. It helps to get the views. Like I think nowadays people are talking about quiet quitting and all that and what that means and empowers.
Quiet quitting, did you say?
Quiet quitting, yeah.
Okay.
It's like this new thing now in the workplace. Quiet quitting.
What does it mean?
Sophia, do you have an inclination?
Yes, it's about where people they just have this low grade state of mind where basically they're not liking their job, they might be feeling burned out, and they just kind of I just work here kind of mindset where they just barely do like the minimum of everything. And so that's the quiet quitting that they're now talking about, because that's like the first signs that you don't really like your job and you need to go somewhere else, but it still pays the bill and you want to keep going kind of thing.
Yeah, no passion anymore.
And and I bet you, they used to say it was over 70% of people not liking or hating what they do. I think that number's even gone higher.
Oh, especially during the pandemic. I think that was an eye opener for a whole lot of people, and a lot of people have found alternatives and are really fighting going back. My daughter-in-law, and then I'll let y'all go, she was telling me the company that she works for is now requiring them to go into the office 1 time a month, and they all have to commute in. So it's a couple hours commute for everybody. And there's no sense in it because they all can do their job remotely. So now they've got this big, huge building that they're paying for and making them come in. And then one of our PIG members, Janice, she told me she had moved back to Arkansas, which is our home area, and she was loving it. She was working remotely, and she works for the government. And they made them transition and go back to the office. Well, she moves from Arkansas back to Arizona. She doesn't want to, but she's doing it. So she did. And she gets into work only to find out that she only has to go in once a week. She even agreed that she would commute in an airplane once a week and pay out of her own pocket. And they would not let her do that. And I said, it's got to be a check the block, something that they have to do for or something. But
That's
I mean,
brutal.
that's the kind of not common sense,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
that people are realizing why, you know, I can live where I want and I can still do my job. I can still get paid.
Well, I think a lot of that, so Boeing they offered, when I was working there, says we could work remotely, do virtual, twice a week, right? So, and we were documenting, and they were getting government credit for the number of miles each week that the people were not on the road. Okay, in 2000, I don't know, 15 or 16, those government credits went away. And when I left, right after I left Boeing, they revoked the virtual work option, and they were forcing everybody to come in to their new building because, well, gee, we've got this building here and it's empty. So it's a company owned building. So I'm sorry, but you can't work from home anymore. You need to come into the office. Well, part of that was because they won't get any government
Subsidy.
credits for it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. No more subsidies. All right. How'd the new format work out for y'all today?
I like it.
We all good?
Yes,
All
good.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
All right. Well, y'all have a fabulous weekend and I will see y'all next time.
And
Have a
next
great
week,
weekend.
the topic next week.
Yes, is our wealth building club and
Yeah.
philanthropy. So bring, if you've got any nonprofit groups that you would like for us to be thinking about supporting and all of that stuff, we want to rank, you know, get cranked up with that.
I do.
Yep. And we want to, the whole thing, you know, enriching lives. Wealth building is just one piece of it. We want to make a positive impact with our lives and with all those around us. So that needs to be the topic, as well as what's going on in our pig group, because y'all can catch up with that if you are just in our Facebook group. So I want to make that more meaningful. Okay. Put your money where your mouth is. You say you want to make a positive difference. I want to hear how you're doing it, and it'll give us inspiration. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Talk
Save
to
the
y'all
chat.
later. Yep.
Bye.
Save the chat.
Have a great day.
You
Bye,
too.
everyone.
Awesome weekend.
Bye now. Thank you.
What is going on with my, it's like I'm stuck.